the other day with Balaga about the 4th and 8 conversation and the personnel that was out there and everything that went into that. But look, Matt LaFleur has been a big topic of conversation. And ultimately, where we've gotten to is just with where they're at, right? And looking at it, it's kind of midway through the season. He said there was 10 games left. There's actually 9. If he does not win a playoff game this year, with Ed Policy in command now, do you think his job would be in jeopardy?
Boy, it's a really good question. And here's the problem. We don't know Ed Policy's leadership style. We don't know what he thinks, right? Like he's new on the job.
He said he didn't want a lame duck coach.
Right. That's where I was going to go. This summer, the only thing we know is we know 2 things. We know Matt LaFleur has this year and next year on his contract, and we know that Ed Policy doesn't want lame duck coaches. So by the power, the power of deduction tells us that this season is what he's going to use to evaluate Matt LaFleur on, right? And because he does not want to go into next season with LaFleur in the last year of his contract. So that would tell me that, yes, it's a critical year for him. Now, what the definition of, you have to win this many games or you have to get to this round of the playoffs in order to get a contract extension, that's hard to say because, what happens if your quarterback gets hurt in the first play of the playoff game or something crazy happens, there's a blown call or a Hail Mary or whatever the case may be. Like it to me, it's more how it looks. And I can take you back to, when they hired Ray Rhodes and he only had the 1 year here. They were 8-8, which obviously wasn't great, but a lot of teams don't fire coaches because they're 8-8. But Ron Wolf, who spent most of the fall scouting colleges, wasn't around a lot during the season, during the week. When the college season ended, around Thanksgiving, and there were no bowl games till, after Christmas at that time, he started to go to practice day in and day out. And he realized he did not like what he saw in practice. Like he did not like the way Ray Rhodes was running things, felt like he didn't have control over the team. Like those are the things that caused him to make the change. Whether they won their last game of the season, I believe, to go 8-8 that year, if I'm not mistaken. So it's not like they finished on a sour note. I think that's more a part of everything than just we lost in this round of the playoffs or we didn't get this far.
Rob, obviously Tucker Kraft's absence leaves a huge void in this offense and this locker room. But I'm curious, what should we expect going forward with Luke Musgrave now as tight end 1?
Yeah, it's easy to forget, Brad, that Luke Musgrave was drafted higher than Tucker Kraft was. He was a second-round pick. I think he was like 40-something overall. Kraft was somewhere in the 70s, if I'm not mistaken. This is a guy who, his rookie training camp, I'm telling you, I don't know that I saw a tight end do the things that he could do athletically probably since Jermichael Finley, and it never panned out. The guys had a bunch of injuries, had some bad luck, had the ruptured spleen, I think it was, or no, lacerated kidney. It was lacerated kidney, some things that sort of are out of your control. And it wasn't, if you remember, in 2023, it wasn't until I think that Chargers game, which was week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, week like 9, that Tucker Kraft really became a big part of the offense because Musgrave had gotten hurt. So this is a guy that they at one time thought really highly of for whatever reason. He didn't take off. He's not a blocker. Now he's not a guy who you're going to throw a swing pass to and he's going to shove guys out of the way and push guys aside like Tucker Kraft. He doesn't have that kind of power. But, man, he's got speed and he's got size and a big catch radius.
I agree with that. But going back to Sunday, Rob, on Sunday, was it Love's performance that was the problem, or was it the play calling by Matt LaFleur that was the problem on Sunday?
You know what? I'm going to say this, Kyle. I think the biggest problem was the way the game started with Savion Williams turning it over in the red zone. That just changed the whole complexion of the game, and then it allowed Carolina to just burn clock and play the way they were going to play. It's a lot easier to dictate the way you're going to play the game when it's either tied or you're ahead. Had the Packers gone up 7-0 there, which, they were moving the ball right there.
Sure were.
Had they gone up 7-0, I know it's early, but to me it changes the tone of the entire game. I think that, combined with the issues they were having in the red zone, which was a number of things. Play calling, it was Jordan Love not making the right reads, it was a missed field goal by Brandon McManus. It was all that added up. But I still say, Kyle, that if they score on that opening drive, Savion Williams doesn't fumble, I think the game's different.
I agree.
It's almost reminiscent of, in a different way, how it went 7-0 really quick to the Eagles' way when Keyshawn Nixon right away, just from a different scenario here after driving the ball down the field.
What playoff game was it? Was it Mercedes Lewis fumbled in a playoff game when they were driving? Was that the 2021 San Francisco game, if I'm not mistaken?
That sounds right.
Yeah, they're driving early, really moving the ball well, and they fumble. I think it was Mercedes, and they end up losing that game 13-10.
January 2022, yeah.
Rob Demovsky joining us here on Kyle, Brust, and Nortman across ESPN Wisconsin. Now, some news that's going around is free agent cornerback Asante Samuel, who had a spinal fusion procedure, is fully cleared. Now, his list is very long here. Going to the Panthers, the Packers tomorrow, Vikings, Niners, Bears, Steelers. So a long process here. But post-trade deadline, do you believe the Packers will be active in that cornerback market trying to find somebody, as we know they're a rolled ankle away from Bo Melton?
I'd be a lot more excited about it if this was 2007 and it was Asante Samuel Sr. coming from the Patriots at the time. Yeah, I mean, look, they're gonna excuse me, they're gonna add somebody, right? And they're gonna continue to add guys. Is there the Super Bowl year they picked up Howard Green, this run-stopping defensive tackle who made a huge difference on their defense. Is there a acquisition out there like that? I mean, maybe, but I think the more telling approach is going to be just how they filled their roster spots this past week. They're going to take guys that have been here on the practice squad. The Josh Wiley, the tight end that's been here with them on the practice squad, just got promoted, signed to the active roster yesterday. Aaron Mosby, same thing. Like, that's their way. That's the Brian Gutekunst way, right?
Rob, a quick question before I give you here, Brad, out. The running game still confounds me. But when Josh Jacobs in it doesn't have quite the same juice as Emmanuel Wilson. Is Josh Jacobs fully healthy, or do teams just basically, respect the run less when Emmanuel Wilson's in?
I think it's a little bit of both. I also would point out, Brad, that Josh Jacobs averaged 5.1 yards a carry on Sunday.
That was better.
If you can get that out of him and get his carries up to 20, 22, I think you're in a good spot. But I think it's the blocking is an issue too. All the shuffling on the offensive line hasn't helped, and quite frankly, they're just not playing as well on the offensive line this year as they did last year.
All right, Rob, here Brad out. I'm curious what your thoughts would be on this in the NFL, because NFL salaries for coaches are guaranteed too. These coaches' buyouts in college football is absolutely ridiculous, right? $25 million potentially for Luke Fickell, $54 million for Brian Kelly. I suggest doing performance-based buyouts, right? But with clauses that go up and down based on victory. So obviously, you get a win in a Power 4, you get $1 million. But there's a cupcake discount if there's a non-conference win. It's only $250K. Okay, so it's a little bit less. There are some things that bring it down, though. There's the embarrassment clause. If you lose by 30 points or more, you get subtracted $500,000, $500K. If you upset a top 10 team, you get $3 million, and your rivalry, if you beat them, you get $2 million. Quick calculation: Luke LaFleur or Matt LaFleur would get $8.25 million for that resume, what he's done so far. Brian Kelly will get $20 million, $750,000 over the last 3 seasons. Now, do you like my idea to add a little performance-based incentives for these coaches' buyouts? And what would it look like in the NFL even?
Yeah, I love the idea, Brad, but what coach in their right mind is ever going to agree to that? It's like it's the same reason that the NFL hasn't gone to fully guaranteed contracts, because what team is going to offer that? I mean, the Deshaun Watson contract.
I was like Cleveland Browns did.
Yeah, right. Deshaun Watson was supposed to change it, and really has it changed much? No. I mean, like, the whole buyout thing's out of control. I would argue in college sports too that there should be 2 things added to this. One, like firing with cause, right? Like, the problem is, like, losing isn't cause. Like, I don't understand that. Like, if you fire somebody, you don't owe them if they're fired for cause. Well, make losing cause. Like, that should be part of the deal. And then with players, like if you're going to do that, then to me, you have to add buyouts for NIL and paying players. Like there's no reason you should be able to go to a school, collect, 800, what did AJ Storr get from Kansas? $800,000 or whatever, and then leave after
like
1 year.
$2
Now
million.
they wanted to get rid of him anyway. But my point is, like Chucky Hepburn, for example, at Wisconsin, and Ben, maybe you know this better than me, but I was told the reason he went into the portal so late is he waited for his last payment from his NIL, which was like May 1st, and then went into the portal. Like that can't. There has to be buybacks, buyouts for players too, because you shouldn't just be able to leave. I'm all for controlling the financials of this, Brad. I think your idea is great. You show me an agent who would ever let one of their clients agree to that, and I'll show you an agent who doesn't have many clients.
I should have consulted with Rob on this here, Brad.
So is that a yes or a no? Because you basically said it's a great idea, but it's not going to work.
Yeah, because a little collusion,
it's
Rob.
In the sky. It's a great idea. But I mean, Kramer had a lot of great ideas too, and when he came across the hall to Jerry's apartment, and I'm going to drop a giant ball of oil out of the window, and it didn't work. I mean, it didn't mean it wasn't a good idea.
Wow,
but
Brad Nortman and Cosmo Kramer in the same sentence. Mama, I made it.
Rob, that was great. We appreciate the time. We'll talk to you next week, okay?
All right, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks,
We'll
Rob.
be seeing you.